If you like what you watch, then don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates on The More Show. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new weekly television and radio shows.
My next guest is actor, author and editor Andrew Gough. Now, Andrew has always had an interest in the esoteric. Throughout his career, he has written for many journals and publications. His main focus is on the mythology of bees and is considered an expert in this field. Alongside writing, Andrew has starred in 2 films and contributed to documentaries including National Geographic. Currently, Andrew is editor-in-chief of Mindscape Magazine, which aims to provide a mix of subculture and alternative ideas. Andrew Gough, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Now, Andrew, just to begin with, just tell us a bit about the Mindscape Magazine.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the magazine. It's a magazine that's distributed in 13 countries, and the whole ethos is mind, mystery, and ancient history. And I think anyone like me who's kind of grown up as a kid with this notion of the romanticism of pyramids and treasure hunts through jungles and all that sort of thing, and always wanted to know, what's real and what isn't, what's truly a mystery and what's perhaps not what it appears to be. This is the magazine for those sorts of people.
So there's all sorts of different articles in here. I mean, how do you have it sort of spaced out? How you constructed the magazine?
Yeah, it's really designed to focus on legends that are real, or demystifying something that we all think is a mystery is every bit as exciting as pursuing a real mystery. So the magazine has, for instance, the gentleman Robert Eisenman, who brought us the Dead Sea Scrolls, and he talks about archaeological finds. Are they real? Are they fraudulent? The truth behind different events in the Middle East. And we have people talking about alternative health, the dangers of fluoride, things like hemp. Why is that suppressed? What would it do for us if that were legalized? That sort of thing.
So one of the research areas that you concentrate on is the bees, the dying bees. Now, just tell us a bit about that, if you can.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you start doing research, there's great quotes about people who do drawings and music, and no music or no sort of artistry is done without a little bit of influence of the spirit. You're guided as you start. It feels like you're guided. And the same thing is true for research. And I was researching some parchments in the Rennes Group mystery when I came across the notion of bees and how they appear throughout mythology in a very peculiar way, and it's led me to believe that they are the real lost tradition. I mean, going back to Sumerian times and Egyptian times. Egypt, by the way, is the land of the bee. And what's the pharaoh's title? The beekeeper. We've forgotten all these things. In my country, the United States, the whole western region was called Deseret, the honeybee. And the most iconic monument in all the United States, Washington's Monument. What does it say on it? To our Lord, the honeybee. And the reason why this little creature has been so deified is that its byproducts, the honey, the ability to pollinate for crops and for medicinal and ritualistic purposes, it was huge. And cultures who embraced it flourished and those who didn't perish.
But there's quite a bit of a big risk, isn't there, to humanity if the bees did sort of suddenly die out, isn't there?
Well, absolutely. And it's interesting because Einstein is attributed to having said, although it's never been found in his writings, that when the bees die, man has 4 years left. And the bees started to die in 2008. So a lot of people are worried that 2012 will be, in fact, a very scary sort of prophecy, referring to the Mayan prophecy. But the bees are dying, and it's frustrating for me because there's a lot of misdirection about why. Every 6 weeks you'll see a report saying the bees are dying because of mobile phones and how they're polluting our atmosphere.
So you think that's to blame, do you?
No, that's real misdirection. The reason the bees are dying are very, very clear. No organic bees are dying. There's only one company in the world who produces the pesticides. And that the same company who produces the pesticides is the one company who gives Obama and the EPA the report that says whether or not pesticides are safe. So guess what the report says? So the pesticides are killing, well, the pesticides are weakening the bee's immune system. Then the Viora mite, which they could normally defend themselves against, kills them. So it's frustrating for me because there isn't a mystery. We should lobby, and I guess I've assumed a role of a bit of an activist because if the bees die, it's a 30+ million industry. So Haagen-Dazs has 26 flavors of ice cream dependent upon the bees.
But how can we save the bees then? I mean, this is such a problem. I mean, what's the answer?
The answer is to produce pesticides that don't kill bees and other insects, and to stop the lobby of the big pharmaceuticals who run a lot of the world and suppress a lot of drugs that aren't in their best interest and promote ones that are not in the best interest of society. So what we can do is lobby against the company who's producing those pesticides and the government who's approving them.
So do you think there's any significance towards this date of 2012 of what you're talking about? I mean, is it just a date or?
Well, again, it's interesting that Einstein had said what he said about that. Another great philosopher and esoteric genius, Rudolf Steiner, said almost 100 years ago, he said that in just under 100 years, which is precisely spot on now, the bees would start to die, but because of the way that the queen was starting to be fed at that time. So that's interesting. But I personally don't think that 2012 has any relevance to our ability to transform as a society. We don't need to wait another year to do that.
No. No. So another part of your work as well is the documentaries. So just tell us a bit about the documentaries briefly.
Well, I've just finished a documentary for the National Geographic Channel on the truth behind King Arthur. And that was very exciting, going to all the places that have been near and dear to me for a long time, Glastonbury, the purported Avalon, and Tintagel, where he was allegedly born. And I won't spoil it, but I do have some perhaps left-of-center views on King Arthur. I personally feel that it's one of the most cherished pieces of mythology we have, but like so many pieces of mythology, you have to wonder how much of it is an archetype based upon what our ancestors observed transpiring in the heavens, and that was reenacted in a variety of mystery schools on the ground. So that will all come out in the documentary.
Yeah, and another one as well is the Stone, is it? The
Stone is the first of two motion pictures distributed by Warner Brothers that are coming out in 2011. So the Stone is out now, and I'm very excited about that. It was filmed in the most haunted site, literally, in Britain, Annesley Hall, which is where Lord Byron did all of his really amazing poetry. And I'm a bit concerned because they wrote the part for me, and the part is an occultist who is really a fraud and a bit of a womanizer who drinks too much. So I'm not sure if I should take offense to that, but I did kind of find the role quite easy.
Yeah.
Seriously though, I play that character who has a team of devotees who go to sites like the one I mentioned, and we perform various occult rituals to free souls that may have been trapped in the afterlife. And I'm a bit of a fraud, but then something quite real and paranormal happens, and I go on a bit of a hero's journey once that occurs. So it's a classic Hammer horror film, and that's, you know, it's scary.
You enjoy doing that, don't you?
It's also a bit sexy. Yeah. It's really, really fun.
I mean, there's not one sort of subject you've mentioned there that, you know, you can't find in Mindscape.
Absolutely. And the thing I love about Mindscape is it's got some really big name writers, and that's fantastic. That's what you would expect. And it treats the reader as an adult. So there's no sort of sensational kind of approach to things. But it also has, well, it has about 30 articles per issue. So, you know, a typical magazine is going to have 5 or 6 feature stories.
Yeah, that's a lot to produce, isn't it? Yeah.
30 really chunky features in each issue is fantastic. And a lot of new voices. We've intentionally said, you know, let's seek out people who haven't been heard before. And a good example is I had an email in from the website, www.mindscape.com, and they said, from Plymouth, England, best magazine I've ever read, it's my favorite. I said, wow, thank you. What's your interest? And well, they're really keen about crop circles. And I said, would you like to write? So he's written a fabulous article about crop circles that will be in the next issue. And so it's really about questioning the dogma and not believing what we've been told, but at the same time, not assuming that everything is a mystery. Some things just are what they are, kind of separating
Is that kind
one
of
from the
proved
other.
in the magazine, that some are just, you know, mistaken mythology, or, you know, that it's not a mystery as such? I mean...
Yeah, a good example is Robert Feather, who's one of the world's experts on sort of biblical archaeology, has taken a look at the tomb of Jesus, an ossuary that's supposed to be contain the remains of Jesus Christ, and it's in all probability an archaeological fraud. And that's just one example. The chap James Beeson, who talks about crop circles, does a fabulous job of not trying to force, are they real or are they man-made?
Yeah.
His whole ethos is continuing. It's more important to ask the questions than to receive the answers.
And what's the distribution? I mean, how can people get hold of the magazine?
It's available in 11 countries. So it comes out, it's a British magazine, so it comes out in the UK, then 2 weeks later in Europe, and a month later in the United States and Australia. And has a website that has a lot of interesting news and writers blogging about some of their discoveries and some of their ideas. So I'd really like to encourage your viewers to contact me via the website or your website and just say, hey, I'd love to write about this. I'm passionate about that. So this is a vehicle for the people to share their views. So it's that lovely combination of people like you and I who just want to express a theory or a view or an opinion, and people who are just, you know, foremost world experts.
So it's a real passion, the magazine, for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm loving it. It's really terrific, and look for more related projects in the months to come. And of course, we're very, very pleased to have an article each issue from yourself, one of your interviews transcribed, and Sir Patrick Moore is a fabulous interview of yours that we have in the issue in front of us.
Well, thank you very, very much for joining us today, Andrew.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Kevin.
For more information on Andrew or any of my guests on today's show, visit my website, themoreshow.co.uk. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates on the show. So until next time, thanks for watching.
moreshow.co.uk/shop to purchase products and services from your favourite past guests. If you're new to this site, you can also catch up on the previous television and radio shows through YouTube and the More Show website.